Hi everyone, a couple of people have asked me recently about changing the time on the cameras so that they match up in Lightroom. So for example, if you've got two cameras and you bring things into Lightroom and sort by capture time, things just aren't properly continuous, they don't match up. Particularly if you have a second shooter at a wedding, for example, and there's a couple of cameras on the go, and when you bring things into Lightroom, you want to edit them in time order, at least to start with. So this is really just to show you how to fix that, and this is a particular example which has just cropped up. Actually, I'm just about to start editing this wedding, which I shot a few weeks ago, and it had a second shooter. I was shooting on two Canon EOS R6 bodies. My second shooter had two Sony cameras which were different models, and one of the Sony cameras didn't match up with the other three cameras that we were using on the day. Now if we had kind of got our act together a bit earlier on in the day, we could have just changed the times on all the cameras and made sure everything was the same. What we could have also done at some point is taken a picture of our shoes or something that's the same. As long as you fire all the cameras at the same time, then you have a reference point from which to adjust the times on one or more of those cameras. So this is reasonably straightforward, this one, because three of the cameras are fine and one of them doesn't match up. As I noticed going through the images, you can see it kind of chops from different parts of the day. For example, here we have the I'm going to library mode so you can see the bridesmaids arriving at the venue, getting ready to go in as a registrar, and then from this picture here where they're just about to go into the ceremony room, all of a sudden it kind of jumps to confetti, and that's no good for trying to edit in a consistent manner. So I need to change the time on those images from that particular camera to match up with the other cameras. Now you can't do this in develop mode, there's no options here for filters, you need to go into library mode, and we need to sort these images by camera. Now there's no option here because we need to be in grid mode, which is this grid view. So this is what we call loop view, and there's no filter options there, so we need to go into grid view, and all these filter options will appear, including this metadata one at the top and this one here where we can sort the order of the images that we're editing by capture time, added order, edit time, etc, etc. If you sort by file name, so these will be by camera now because of the file names from the camera. The other way to do it is to go up here into metadata, and this will show only the images shot on my two Canons, which it's lumped them together, but you can sort by lens if you want. So these are the lenses that we used on the day, and the two different Sony bodies are separate, so we can sort those by camera just by clicking on one of those. So what I need to do next is to find some kind of reference point where I know that we both fired at the same time, so that I can adjust from there. And because there were less images shot on these Sonys, I'm going to adjust this one here actually, which is out of sync, and I'm going to adjust all of the images from this Sony camera to match the rest of them. So just looking only at the images shot with this particular camera, I'm going to find some point in the day where I know we've been both shooting at the same time. So usually something like walking in is easy because you can find a point during the walk where we were both shooting. Coming out, confetti is usually a good one as well because I know that we were both firing at the same time during the confetti. So we'll go with that for today. Now you can see here with the confetti they came around the corner and then they straightened up a bit, and I know that I would have been shooting all the way through this, so I'm going to take this image here as a reference. This is the one I'm going to use to change the rest of them. So what I need to know is what time this was as far as the other cameras were concerned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the grid view. I'm going to go into my cameras here. I'm going to find the same point in time where the confetti was thrown. I'm going to find out what time that was. So here they are coming around the corner. As you can see, I cocked that up with the exposure, but this image here is roughly, I would say, about the same time as the other one. So I can see over here, if we, again, you're in library mode and it's under the metadata tab, which is near the bottom. sometimes by default you'll find it looks like that. You can't see any of the info, and you can't work out why it is, but there's this little button here, little switch, which changes it to edit mode. So once you click that and there's a little eye appears, all this information, you'll be able to see it. Now here we have the capture date and time, and it was 2 o'clock and 11 seconds. And this little arrow says if you click that, it will show all the photos taken on this date, which is great if you have a catalogue with different images in from different days, and you can sort them out using that. But we don't need to do that, but what we do need to do is change the time. So it's not obvious, but you need to hold down the Alt or Option key when you press this button here, and that will bring up this dialog box, and from there we'll be able to change the time. I'm not going to do it on this one because this is my camera. I'm going to change it on the other ones, but I'm just going to make a note that it was 2 o'clock and 11 seconds. So I need to go back, choose this camera, find that image, confetti, going around the corner, just straightening up. Okay, and now because I've clicked here, this is only that camera that's selected. I'm going to hold down Control, click A to select all of the photographs from that camera, which is Command and A on the Mac. I'm going to go into here, I'm going to hold down Alt or Option, click that, and I'm going to change the time. And it looks like the time is almost exactly the same, but it's 1 hour out, perhaps because he didn't change the time when the clocks went forward. So that should say 2 o'clock and 11 seconds, and I'm going to change all. It says this operation cannot be undone. So if you cock it up, you can't undo it, and it becomes more fiddly from there on in. So I'm going to change all. Let's change all of the times on all of the pictures from this camera. Now if I click on all 3 cameras, you'll see now that these images have slotted in between the images I took from that confetti one. And that's how to change the times on one camera to match other cameras in Lightroom. If you have any questions about that, or there's anything that's confusing that you need clarification, that's the one, clarification on, please let me know in the comments or send me a message and I'll be happy to help you out. Cheers.